And welcome back. This is Alden Antonucci with Extreme Power Hour Podcast. I've got my brother here,
Yon
Abram Antonucci, with Next Home Destination, where he has a brokerage here in Bozeman, Montana. And if any of you know where that is, we're right outside of Yellowstone National Park. It's an amazing area. And the last time that we left the other episode was you were kind of talking about the pre-pandemic market, which roughly was around $300,000 to $400,000. It reached its peak in roughly 2022. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd say 2022, about June, probably peaked out in 2022.
At $1 million, just shy of $1 million. So imagine that.
And that's in Bozeman city limits again, not nationwide. We'll talk about that.
Right. So basically, it grew 2 to 3 times in a period of 2 to 3 years. And then obviously we see a settling down to where we're roughly at 750,000, around there in the median home price. And that's just Bozeman itself. So what everyone wants to know, I know I'm curious, I'm sure the audience is curious, is what's the forecast and what's going to happen since we're in an election year of 2024?
Yeah, so I'm going to back up and talk about units sold. So National Association of Real Estate Agents, NAR, we call it, keeps track of all these numbers, how many homes are being bought and sold, right? So pre-pandemic, I think we'd sell about 4 to 5 million homes a year nationwide. Okay, so that's still, it's all 50 states. That's townhomes, condos, single families. And normally it'd land about 4 to 5 million range for homes sold. In 2001, I believe it was, we peaked at about 6.2 million
homes.
Yeah. So, wow. Yeah. So 6.2 million transactions, homes purchased on bought and sold that year,
right.
2001. So it went over 6 million, which even surpassed the numbers prior to the recession of 2006, 2007. We were trucking along, building.
Right.
It got close to that. I think it was in the 5 million range. Never hit the sixes.
Okay.
So that's where we peaked. Fast forward to 2023, last year, it was 3.8 million. So we dipped almost 2.5 million units less sold in 2023 than in 2021.
Wow.
So a 25%, 3% decrease from its peak here to 2023.
Got it. So where we are right now, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking the same thing. Is it a good time to buy? It's an election year. I personally have a friend that is debating buying a house or spending $3,500 a month in rent. It makes roughly, let's call it between $10,000 and $12,000. Would you recommend, do you buy, or do you pay $3,500 a month for a 1-year lease to see where this economy is going?
Yeah. I mean, I'm in a real estate agent, so I'm always buy, right? And I'll be honest with people, and I'm you've got a good place, your rent's low enough, stay there. But in that circumstance, if your rent is that high and it's already a third of your income, then I would try and purchase the best you can, because I got to do quick math, but let's say 3,500 times 12 months. I mean, you're going to be paying over $40,000 in just rent, and you can't paint your bedrooms, you can't park where you want to park, you can't do things to your home,
and you're finding a new lease in case the landlord kicks you out.
You're always worried about getting kicked out. You can't put holes in the wall. So I'm always a proponent. If you're going to spend that much, you might as well take that $40,000, and that could be your down payment towards a home.
So let's say he only had around $5,000 to $10,000 for a deposit on the house. Is there entry-level loans that the government's kind of configured for this new market that we're in?
Not necessarily, but we are seeing sellers offering concessions.
Okay, what's that mean?
A concession would mean, sometimes the home's been sitting on the market for a little while, or if it's new construction, depends on where it is. There'll be concessions, they're called. Maybe they'll pay your closing costs. So you make an offer, and it's contingent upon the acceptance of the builder paying for the closing costs for you. You're part of it. Maybe not all of it, because you don't have that much money down.
And what's a closing cost considered for the newbie buyers out there?
Closing costs are gonna have some tax fees in there. There's gonna be some attorney fees. There's gonna be some title costs. A whole bundle of goods in there, and it usually is about 1 to 1.5%
Right.
of your purchase price.
So $500,000, you're looking around maybe $5,000.
Yeah, maybe $5,000 to $6,500. Plus, you need to have down payment. And down payment to get into like a single family home is going to be about 3.5% to 5% of that total purchase price.
So $500,000, 5% would be roughly around
$25,000 you need down, and then you're going to need another
$5,000
to $6,500. So you're going to need about $30,000 down to get into a home.
So you're saying, okay, if you got 40 grand, you should really buy a house. Yeah. Don't pay 35 in rent because you're burning 40K in 1 year.
And that could have been your house.
That could have been your deposit.
And then you're missing out on appreciation. The earlier you get into a home, every year it's going to appreciate, so you're gaining value. So the longer you delay on doing that, you're just missing out on appreciation.
So you said a good thing there, which is appreciating. What about inflation? Are you seeing the trend of a house constantly going up? Are we seeing it stabilize and it's going to come down? Because that's what he's worried about. Yeah. He's thinking that market's going to come down. I'm going to buy a house down here like it was in, let's call it 2008 to 2012 era. Is that what we're seeing?
Well, we're not seeing a reduction in the cost to build right now. So the home prices can't really come down that much more because builders aren't going to take a wash and sell a house for less than that they're building them for. So lumber's still pretty high. I mean, supply chain's getting caught up, but so is inflation. So the home's cost to build is not going down. So I don't foresee it going much lower. I always say, today's the best day to buy, and yesterday was even better. So I wouldn't put that off to buy because the home prices are just going to keep going up.
So ones that are worried about, let's say, interest rates, people are like, oh, it's going to hit 7-10% interest rates. And honestly, I don't think anybody knows exactly what it's going to hit. But if you bought a house today, there is a possibility you could refi it in the future when it comes down.
Yeah. We say, date the rate, buy it, and marry the house. Like, you love the house, that rate can change. Get rid of that when a new one comes along. If it drops to 4 or 5%, refinance it when it drops. Right. But if you love the house, get it now. Don't wait for tomorrow because someone else might buy it. So, yeah, we've had a lot of buyer's remorse lately. People are like, man, I should have bought last year. I should have bought the year before that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Sorry, I told you. But I don't see the rates coming down that much more. I think they might hit low 6s if we're lucky. Until things kind of settle out, and you never know with wars or natural disasters or what's going to happen.
Another good concept. We got wars, we got conflicts going on right now, and obviously we're in an election year right now, literally. If you want to call it the Republicans versus the Democrats, which one? I mean, how would that look if Trump takes office or Biden takes office? Do you see a forecast in there?
I think it'll be equally the same. I think that both parties are going to try and make the economies look good for both of them. And I think that'll keep home prices pretty steady right now. Fortunately, the federal government is pretty stable. So I'm confident in the United States government that we're going to do well, regardless of who's there. And I think home appreciation is just going to continue to go up. Some stats quickly is, in the United States, we are short 5 million units for people that want to buy.
So there's always the demand is lacking.
Demand is there because during the recession from like 15 years ago, builders stopped building there for a while. So we still have families living in mom's basements. We still have a lot of that multi-generational that they kept waiting to buy because they got foreclosed on or they weren't ready to buy. And they missed that boat, and they thought that boat would come in, 2020. And then we had the pandemic hit, and then it got even harder to buy. So we still have at least 5 million people that are looking for homes that don't have enough supply.
So I think what a lot of people are wondering too, are we in 2008 again? Are we going to see that price dip? And what you're saying right now is the demand for homes is too high, so you're not going to see a price drop.
Yeah, the demand is up here. Remember, we had people peaked out at 6.5 million. It's not that the demand stopped, it's just the interest rates slowed out, delayed that buying process. And so the pool of buyers is still out there. and the quantity of homes is still this big
Right.
and shrinking every day.
Mm.
So until we build more, the price of homes is not going to decrease and level out.
Right.
It's kind of like a hockey stick curve. Like you've seen it going like this, slow,
Mm-hmm.
and then it quickly went up.
Mm-hmm.
I think there'll be some leveling, but I don't see it just peaking and dropping. The cost of homes coming down.
Are we at the level now, or are we seeing the market go down?
I can only speak. Well, I can speak nationally. The average days on market is 30. Healthy would be 4 to 6 months.
So right there, you're saying the demand is heavy.
The demand is heavy. We still don't have enough supply for the amount of demand that there are.
Right.
And locally, we're seeing the same thing. Where I think Bozeman city limits were at 19 days on market, and nationally we're at 30 days on market.
Okay. And a healthy market is 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months.
So we're really far out.
We're a long ways to go from that. So I would tell your buddy, if you told him that, it's like we only have a month's worth of inventory, really. So if everyone rallied and bought houses all on the same day, we'd run out in 30 days.
Perfect. Well,
so
I guess you heard it here on Extreme Power Hour with my brother Abram Antonucci with Extreme.
I know.
With Next Home Destination. And stay tuned for the next one. And I think the next one we really want to talk about is back to that entry level and helping people's and the first home buyers, literally the ones that are living in the basement. We need to help those buyers get out of the basement into real estate because you're saying it's a hockey stick going up.
Yep.
Stay tuned for the next one.